today we'll start with ribs, and after that we'll cover bronchopulmonary segments of lung. First, ribs. We will see here general features and attachments of ribs. After that, applied aspects of anatomy in relation with ribs. Ribs. What is rib? Ribs are flat, curved, and these are protecting important structures in thoracic cavity. Now these flat structures are also curved. Total number of ribs in thoracic cage are 12 pairs, means 12 pairs of ribs present in thoracic cage. These 12 pairs shows different features, but some ribs are having same features. What these features, how other ribs are different from these ribs, we'll see one by one. First, ribs. Now these ribs mainly protect, now you know, the organs present in thoracic cavity. Which organs? Lung, heart, also some large vessels. Then just below this diaphragm there is presence of some important abdominal organs also, which spleen, then liver, also part of stomach. Means this thoracic cage simply gives protection to these organs, thoracic organs and abdominal organs. Now these ribs, as these are paired, 12 pairs of ribs present in thoracic cage. These 12 cage. Now out of these 12 pair of which are two ribs, first to seventh, two ribs. All ribs are 8, 12. How? First to seventh ribs posteriorly with vertebra. Rib on both sides paired, as these are paired, therefore below 7 ribs. These to 12th. There is no out of this again. Out of this 8 to 12, 8, 9, 10 shows indirect articulation or attachment with this sternum. These 8, 9, 10 ribs, cartilage of these 8, 9, 10th ribs joins with each other, and then it joins with cartilage of and this, with the help of this costal margin, these 8 ribs shows articulation or attachment with this sternum with the help of this 11th and 12th rib. There is no direct attachment of this 11th sternum. Now first 1, 2 ribs are 8. Again, these ribs are classified according to its structure. How? Typical ribs and atypical ribs. Typical ribs. What is meant by typical ribs? Typical ribs shows. Now these typical ribs are 3 to 9. Out of 10, 3 to 9 ribs are typical ribs having same features, similar features. But remaining first, second, 10th, 11th and 12th rib, these are atypical ribs. Now these 5 atypical ribs, these are from these typical ribs. Now which features visible in typical ribs? is gross anatomy, gross features present in ribs. Typical ribs. Now, typical ribs are 3 to 9. These 3 are typical ribs. It shows features. Which features? It shows different parts. Now, these typical ribs shows 2 ends, sternal end and vertebral end. And in between these 2 ends, there is presence of shaft. Sternal end, vertebral end. And in between these 2 ends, there is presence of shaft. Seeing these features of in this typical rib, sternal end, it is concave. Now, this one is end or this anterior. This is, it shows facet. Now, this concave end, it shows articulation with its cartilage, and with the help of this cartilage, this typical rib attachment with this it shows features. Which features? It shows head, neck and tubercles. Head, neck and tubercle. This vertebral end shows articulation with or attachment with this in relation with this vertebra, thoracic vertebra. Posterior end shows head, neck and tubercles. Head, neck and tubercle. First, head. Now you can see here head. This head shows parts divided by one crest elevation. It shows 2 facets, upper facet then lower facet. In between these 2 facets, there is presence of one crest. This crest shows with inter of one intra-articular lower facet of this posterior end in relation with head. Now, lower facet to vertebra, same vertebra, and upper facet articulate with body of neck. Now, this neck, it is a part of posterior aspect of rib. From head, this neck goes posteriorly, backward and laterally. It is flat. It shows 2 surface, posterior surface, upper border and lower border. Now, just lateral to this neck, there is presence of tubercles. Now, in these tubercles, or you can say this tubercle is divided into two parts, articular part and non-articular part. Before this, as this neck goes posteriorly, backward and laterally, it forms a deep part in relation with thoracic cage, or you can say paravertebral gutter. Paravertebral gutter, it is a part in relation with posterior aspect of thoracic cage for accommodation of this posterior part of lung. And this, as this neck part goes backward, laterally, here, now you can say just lateral to this, there is presence of tubercles, articular part and non-articular part. These tubercles are divided into articular tubercle and non-articular tubercle. Articular part of this tubercle shows articulation with one facet present in relation with this transverse process of respective vertebra, same vertebra. Third rib articulates with this transverse facet present in relation with transverse process of third thoracic vertebra in the same vertebra, same rib, same number. Now after that, there is presence of shaft. Now this is a long curved shaft. Now this shaft here, from this tubercle again, it will go backward and laterally, and there is sharp curve here. Now in relation with sharp curve, there is formation of posterior angle of rib. Now you can see, because of this curve formation of rib in relation with its posterior aspect, there is formation of paravertebral gutters, means depressed part in relation with posterior aspect of thoracic cage, and it will accommodate which part? Posterior part of this lung. Now as this part goes backward laterally, and this up to this angle of rib, it is now posterior most aspect in relation with this thoracic cage, and this part goes posterior level. If you compare level of this spine of thoracic vertebra and this posterior most aspect of this ribs, which part is more posterior? Now here ribs. Therefore spine of this vertebra lies slightly anterior or deep as compared to this ribs. Therefore in human can lie in prone position easily, and there is no problem of spine of this thoracic vertebra because of this angulation of this rib. But in other animals it is not possible. Only in human prone position is possible because of this angulation or formation of angle by ribs. Now here, from this posterior angle, shaft will go anteriorly, and these shaft present in between two ends of this rib, it will show inner surface, outer surface, upper border, lower border. Now these borders and surfaces of typical ribs, in relation with this lower border, there is presence of costal groove, and this costal groove shows two margin, upper margin and lower margin, easily visible from inner aspect of ribs. Now this upper margin of this costal groove, medially it will continue as lower margin of this neck, and it will show posteriorly attachment of one posterior attachment of intercostal membrane. Then again costal groove, it is a depressed groove present in relation with lower border of a typical rib. Now this costal groove having upper and lower margin. Now lower margin, it will form lower border of this rib. Upper border of typical rib, it will show two ridges, anterior and posterior ridge. Now anterior ridge and posterior ridge, or you can say outer lip and inner lip. Simply outer lip and inner lip of this upper border of rib. This upper border, outer lip, it will give insertion to external intercostal muscle. Inner lip of upper border of rib shows attachment or insertion of two muscles, internal intercostal and intimus muscle. Combined attachment of internal intercostal and intercostal intimus muscle in relation with inner lip of this typical rib. Now in relation with this costal groove, upper margin of this costal groove shows origin of intercostalis intimus muscle for lower intercostal space. In relation with this costal groove, there is presence of or origin of internal intercostal muscle, and lower border, a lower margin of this costal groove, a lower border of ribs gives origin to this external intercostal muscle. Now here, in relation with this costal groove, there is presence of intercostal nerves and vessels. These intercostal nerves and vessels are present in costal groove in between internal intercostal and intercostalis intimus muscle. It will form a neurovascular plane in between these two muscles. Now, in relation with outer surface of, now this typical rib shows outer surface, inner surface. In relation with outer surface, posterior aspect, it will show a oblique line. Now this oblique line, it shows attachment of thoracolumbar fascia. Now anterior part of this outer surface, again it will show one oblique line and it will divide attachment of some muscles. In relation anterior part of this oblique line, there is attachment of muscle of abdomen, external oblique muscle of abdomen. In relation with this posterior part of this oblique line, outer surface of this rib, there is attachment of, in upper 8 ribs, serratus anterior. Now in lower ribs, there is attachment of latissimus dorsi muscle. Now these are features present in typical rib. These ribs, in relation with these ribs, attachment of some muscles. Which muscles we already covered? Muscles present in intercostal spaces. External intercostal, internal intercostal and intercostalis intimus. These are intercostal muscles present in between two ribs, and it will show attachment on upper lip or lower lip. In relation with posterior part, posterior, what is present there? Head, neck and tubercles. Now these head, neck and tubercle part shows attachment with this transverse process of thoracic vertebra with the help of costotransverse ligament. Upper, lower and lateral costotransverse ligament in relation with transverse process of thoracic vertebra. This is about typical rib. Now atypical rib. Typical ribs are from 3 to 9. Now atypical ribs. First we'll call first, second, then 10, 11 and 12. Means 5 ribs are atypical. First rib. Now this is first rib and this is its view from upper part or superior view of this first rib. Or this is first rib from its superior aspect. In this first rib, it is a small, short and flat. You can see here there is no features visible in this first rib just like in typical ribs. It is a simple, flat, small, short, and this first rib, here it shows again two ends, anterior and posterior. Posterior, it shows one rounded head which articulates with first thoracic vertebra, body of first thoracic vertebra. This first rib, it is flat. It shows outer border and inner border. Two surfaces, upper surface and lower surface. There is no presence of costal groove in relation with first rib. Here, instead of this neurovascular bundle in relation with first rib, directly come in relation with lower surface. Now here in first rib there is no lower border, there is lower surface because there is presence of upper surface and lower surface. Therefore, neurovascular bundle of first rib comes in direct relation with lower surface of first rib. Now here this is view from above, upper part of this first rib. Here you can see inner margin. Here's difference, margin, inner margin, not inner surface, inner margin and outer margin. In relation with this inner margin, there is presence of one tubercle, elevator structure, and this is known as scalene tubercle. And this scalene tubercle, it will show attachment of scalenus anterior muscle. Now just anterior to this scalene tubercle, there is presence of a groove, anterior to it and posterior to it. Means two grooves are present in relation with upper surface of this first rib. And through this groove, which structure passes? In relation with anterior groove, anterior to this scalene tubercle, there is presence of subclavian vein. Posterior groove, there is presence of subclavian artery along with lower trunk of brachial plexus. Now in relation with upper surface of this first rib, posterior part, posterior to this posterior groove, there is attachment of scalenus medius muscle. And in relation with this outer margin, there is origin of first digitation of serratus anterior muscle. Now anterior part of this first rib, it will show attachment of one muscle, which subclavius muscle, and attachment of one ligament, costoclavicular ligament. Now this is in relation with upper surface of first rib. It is a atypical rib. Now inner margin of this first rib, it show attachment of suprapleural membrane. Here in relation with inner margin. Now as you go posteriorly, neck of first rib, here lies ascending branch of ventral ramus of first thoracic nerve. One branch coming from this first thoracic nerve and one ascending branch from ventral rami of this first thoracic nerve. Now these are structures in relation with this first rib. What is difference here in typical rib and atypical rib? Atypical mainly first rib. First rib is a flat. It shows upper surface, lower surface. But in typical rib, it shows outer surface, inner surface. In first rib, outer margin, inner margin. But in typical rib, upper margin, lower margin, or upper border, lower border. This is now first rib. In the same way, second rib. In second rib, it is again flat, but not totally flat. It shows again outer surface, inner surface, but surfaces, outer surface faces not outer but upward and outward. Inner surface faces downward and medially. This second rib, it is twice as compared to the length of first rib. In this second rib, main prominent feature visible is one elevated tubercle, and this tubercle gives origin to this mainly partly first and mainly second digitation of serratus anterior muscle. Just posterior to this attachment of serratus anterior, there is presence of scalenus posterior muscle and serratus posterior superior muscle attachment. In this second rib, costal groove is present now, but only in posterior part. First rib, there is no costal groove, therefore neurovascular bundle comes in direct contact with this inferior or lower surface of this first rib. Then this is about first and second ribs. Now 10th and 11th. After this 10th and 11th rib, now this 10th rib, it shows again same feature, maximum features same as typical rib, present in typical rib. But what is difference? It is short as compared to typical ribs. And in 10th rib, this shows its costal cartilage joins with costal cartilage of upper ribs. Means 7, 8, 9 and 10 are continuous, forming costal margin in 10th. And 11th. In 11th, head present, neck present, tubercle present, but costal groove is not so prominent, or you can say absent, and it is a very short. And last rib is 12th rib. 12th rib again small, and it is having no neck, no tubercles, no costal groove, and it is a rib, lowermost rib paired, and it shows two surfaces. As there is no presence of costal groove, it shows upper margin, lower margin, anterior surface, posterior surface. See difference. And in 11th and 12th rib, its end are present in muscles of back, covered by a cap of cartilage. There is no direct articulation of or attachment of this 11th and 12th rib with sternum, but its lateral end are present in muscles and covered by cartilage. These are very small ribs. Now 12th rib. In 12th rib, two surfaces, anterior surface, posterior surface, upper margin, lower margin. No costal groove in 12th rib. Here, anterior surface is visible. There is no neck, no tubercle. In 10th, 11th and 12th, there is a single head, large head, which articulates with same vertebra. In typical ribs, it shows two parts which articulates with upper and lower vertebra, upper vertebra and same vertebra. But in 10th, 11th and 12th, it articulates with corresponding vertebra, body of corresponding vertebra, same vertebra, same number. Now this one is anterior surface of 12th rib. It shows attachment of some muscles, which medial part shows attachment of quadratus lumborum muscle, anterior surface. Then lateral part shows attachment of diaphragm and transversus abdominis muscle. Now in relation with this quadratus lumborum muscle, upper and lower margin of this quadratus lumborum muscle gives attachment to thoracolumbar fascia. Now in relation with posterior surface of this 12th rib, posterior surface from medial to lateral end, it will show attachment of levator costae, longissimus thoracis, then iliocostalis, then serratus posterior, inferior, and lateral most part shows attachment of latissimus dorsi and external oblique muscle of abdomen. These are attachment present in relation with posterior aspect of this 12th rib. Now in relation with this anterior surface of 12th rib, medial part, there is presence of costodiaphragmatic recess of pleura. This relation is more important. There is presence of costodiaphragmatic recess of pleura. Now we have covered all these 12 ribs. Now if we compare length of ribs increases from 1st to 7th rib. After that 7th rib, length decreases and 12th rib is smallest rib. If we compare obliquity of rib, these ribs are not straight, but first rib, anterior end of first rib, it is placed at lower level as compared to posterior level of first rib. and this anterior end of first rib, it is near about 2.5 to 3 centimeter below this posterior part of this first rib, and therefore below that first, second, third, fourth, fifth ribs are placed obliquely. This obliquity increases from first to ninth rib. After that it decreases. There is such oblique placement of ribs because during inspiration there is a need to increase antero-posterior and transverse diameter of thoracic cage, and to increase this antero-posterior diameter and transverse diameter of thoracic cage, this obliquely placed ribs are essential. Therefore, this obliquity of ribs will help in inspiration. This is all about ribs and its attachment. Now something about its applied aspect. In relation with ribs, rib is a bone, therefore fracture of ribs. But there is slight difference in between fracture of ribs when there is a direct violence, direct injury or compression injury. In direct injury to these ribs, there is a fracture, and what happens whenever there is a fracture? There may mainly there is fracture of ribs in relation with shaft. And what happens during this, in this direct injury? Fracture ends of ribs will go in. Therefore, what will happen? It will cause injury to pleura, and there may be pneumothorax or hemothorax. This is direct injury, inward. But sometimes there is compression injury, pressure over this thoracic cage. What will happen? If there is more pressure, what will happen? There is fracture of rib, but where? Near posterior angle of rib. See a difference between direct injury and indirect, or you can say compression injury. In compression injury, there is fracture of ribs near posterior angle of ribs. And what will happen in this compression injury? Near posterior angle, fracture ends of ribs will faces outward, will go outward. Means there is no direct injury to pleura. This is about compression injury. Sometimes there is fracture of ribs, but multiple fractures. How? 2 or 3 ribs get fracture. Example, direct injury. 2 or 3 ribs get fractured, and these fracture on 2 sides in one rib. Means 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Middle part of that rib will get separated, and this may cause that segment, it will form a separate segment. One rib fracture at 2 sides, it will form one separate segment of that rib. If there is fracture, not only one rib may be involved, but more than one rib involved. Therefore, if example 3 ribs are involved, what will happen? These 3 ribs will form a separate segment in thoracic cage, and it will cause movement during inspiration and expiration. These fractured segment, fractured rib, and this condition is known as flail chest. And what is movement? During inspiration, this segment will go in. During expiration, this segment will go out. Means it will cause difficulty in inspiration and expiration, because it may cause severe pain. Again, same condition, but in relation with anterior aspect, or you can say in relation with costal cartilages of these ribs, what will happen? Sometimes there is a fracture because of steering wheel of four-wheeler. What will happen? In relation with both sides of sternum, costal cartilages present of respective ribs, there is fracture on both sides. Therefore, sternum along with costal cartilage of both sides will form a separate segment, and such type of injury is because of steering wheel injury during vehicular accidents. In this injury, same thing. This sternum will go in and it will press the structures present in relation with posterior aspect of sternum. And this condition is stow in chest, causing difficulty in respiration. Now next is thoracotomy. Thoracotomy is an operative procedure. And in this procedure, cleaning of thoracic cavity for what? For removal of pus present in pleural cavity. And this thoracotomy operation, simple procedure is with the help of ribs. First, remove substance of bony segment of rib, preserve periosteum of that rib, and take incision in relation with floor of this remaining part of this rib for approach, easy approach of this for drainage of pus, removal of pus present in pleural cavity. You can use easy approach. After removal, this periosteum will regenerate that rib completely. This will help in easy regeneration of ribs after thoracotomy operation. Again, sometimes in carcinoma of mandible, there is need to remove mandible. But in place of mandible, we can use this removed part of ribs to regenerate or to replace this bony structure of this removed mandible. We can use this ribs, subperiosteal resection of ribs for bone grafting. Again, as periosteum is intact, ribs will regenerate. This is about one additional bone grafting. Ribs can be used for bone grafting. Now we will cover bronchopulmonary segment. But before this, I will give some idea about lung in short. In lung is a half conical like structure. It is spongy in texture, blackish in adult because of deposition of carbon particle in lung. It crepitate on pressure. It is spongy, elastic in nature. Now two lungs, right and left lung present. These lungs will show gross features like this: apex, base, then costal surface, medial surface, anterior border, posterior border and inferior border. Now apex. Apex is a part of lung which lie near about 3 to 4 centimeter above the level of first costal cartilage, and it is covered by pleura. And just above this pleura, there is presence of suprapleural membrane. Now, in relation with clavicle, it is near about 2.5 centimeter above. This is apex. This apex is ruled by subclavian artery and subclavian vein. It is upper part. Now base of lung. Base, it is a concave part of lung, and this concavity is more prominent in relation with right lung because there is presence of liver in relation with right lung, lower part of this right lung. Now surfaces. Costal surface. Now costal surface is outer covering of this, outer aspect of this lung, and it will show elevations and depressions. Now this costal surface comes in relation with ribs and intercostal spaces. Which ribs? It will come in relation with upper 6 ribs in mid-clavicular line. It will comes in relation with upper 8 ribs in mid-axillary line. And it will comes in relation with upper 10 ribs in scapular line. These are relations. Now in between these, it will also comes in relation with this intercostal spaces. Ribs will form depressed lines, depressed part, and intercostal space will form elevated part in relation with these ribs. Now anterior border. Anterior border is present anteriorly. It is thin and it comes in relation with this posterior surface of sternum. It corresponds with anterior line of pleural reflection. You can say costo-mediastinal reflection of pleura. And it shows a deep notch in relation with left lung. And this notching, it starts at the level of 4th costal cartilage left side. It will go laterally near about 3.5 centimeter and it will extend up to 5th costal cartilage or in relation with near about 3.5 to 4 centimeter from median nail. This is reflection of this in relation with anterior border. Now posterior border. Posterior border, it is thick, rounded, ill-defined, and this comes in relation with heads of upper 10 ribs. It is a rounded, present in paravertebral gutter. Now inferior border, it is again thin, sharp, and this inferior border will separate base of lung from costal and medial surface. Now here you can see this is right lung. Apex, now base, medial surface, and this is costal surface. Now what is this? These are two fissures present in right lung. It will form 3 lobes in right lung. Now in the same way, this is left lung. Apex, base, now this is medial surface, now this is cardiac notch of lung. Here this is costal surface and oblique fissure present in relation with this left lung, forming 2 lobes, upper lobe and lower lobe. Now medial surface, slightly in detail. This medial surface is divided into 2 parts. Posterior part is vertebral part, anterior part is mediastinal part. Posterior part of this medial surface known as vertebral part, as it comes in relation with upper 10 thoracic vertebra and intervertebral disc. Now anterior aspect of this medial surface known as mediastinal part. This mediastinal part, mediastinal surface is different in both right and left lung. First is hilum. What is hilum? It is a triangular structure which will allow entry and exit in relation with this lung. Inside lung, some structure will go in like bronchus, some structure will come out like vessels. This is hilum of lung. It is triangular. Now in relation with this, Now this is hilum of right and left lung. Which structure present in relation with this hilum? From above downward first. Above downward. Upper lobe bronchus, then pulmonary artery, right principal bronchus and lower pulmonary vein. Now what is equation? BABV. Bronchus, artery, bronchus, vein. From above downward. This is right lung, hilum. Structure present in the hilum of right lung. BABV. Bronchus, artery, bronchus, vein. Upper lobe bronchus, pulmonary artery, right principal bronchus and lower pulmonary vein. Now anterior to posterior. VAB. Vein, artery and bronchus. This is about structure present in hilum of right lung. This is bronchus, artery, bronchus and vein. Bronchus, artery, bronchus, vein in right lung. Now in addition to this, anterior and posterior to this hilum, this is one is hilum and remaining structure present in relation with this mediastinal surface. Which structure present? There is cardiac impression, right phrenic nerve, then superior vena cava, arch of azygous vein, brachiocephalic vein, also azygous vein. Now this one is right phrenic nerve. This is cardiac impression. In relation with this cardiac impression, right atrium, right ventricle comes in relation with this. Superior vena cava, inferior vena cava. This one is right vagus nerve, part of trachea. Now just above this, there is presence of arch of azygous vein here, and posterior more there is presence of esophagus. There is presence of esophagus in relation with this. These are structures in relation with right lung. Now hilum of left lung, hilum and remaining part. In relation with this left lung, there is now the equation BABE, but in left lung hilum shows ABV, artery, bronchus, vein. How? From above downward. Pulmonary artery, left principal bronchus and lower pulmonary vein, artery, bronchus, vein. Same again, anterior to posterior, VAB, vein, artery, bronchus. These are structure present in hilum of left lung. Remaining impressions in the near to this hilum. Cardiac impression for pulmonary lung, arch of aorta, left phrenic and left vagus crossing will take place just in relation with arch of aorta and descending thoracic aorta. This one is hilum of left lung. Therefore, pulmonary artery, bronchus and pulmonary vein. Therefore, artery, bronchus, vein. Artery, bronchus, vein in hilum. Now, in relation with this remaining structure, in relation with this medial surface of this left lung, this is trachea, left recurrent laryngeal. This is left vagus, left phrenic. This one is arch of aorta, descending thoracic aorta, esophagus along with thoracic duct, part of this trachea. These structures comes in relation with medial or mediastinal surface of this left lung. Now lobes and fissures. In this lungs, in right lung, upper, middle and lower lobes present, 3 lobes present. Fissures 2, oblique and horizontal. But in left lung, upper and lower lobes present, only 1 fissure present, oblique fissure. Now oblique fissure. Oblique fissure, it begins posterior at the level of T3 and T4 spine, and it will follow 5th intercostal space. Then it will go anteriorly and cut inferior margin near this 7th intercostal space or 7th costal cartilage. This is oblique fissure present in both lungs. In right lung, horizontal fissure is present and it extends in relation with this 4th costal cartilage and joins with this oblique fissure after running horizontally. At which level? At mid-axillary level. Now because of this oblique and horizontal fissure, there is formation of 3 lobes in right lung, upper, middle and lower lobe. But in left lung, only oblique fissure is present, showing 2 lobes, upper lobe and lower lobe. Now root of lung, it lies in relation with this hilum, and it will connect heart and trachea to this lung, covered by mediastinal pleura. It contains bronchus, then pulmonary vessel, bronchial vessels, and lymphatics and nerves. Now bronchopulmonary segment. If we trace trachea will divide into right and left principal bronchus, and this division of this trachea into right and left principal bronchus, it will divide and redivide again separately. First, right or left principal bronchus, it will divide and it will form secondary bronchus or lobar bronchus. Then again it will divide and it will form segmental bronchi or tertiary bronchi. And these segmental bronchi will form a separate bronchopulmonary segment, or you can say area of lung aerated by segmental bronchus or tertiary bronchus, known as bronchopulmonary segment. Bronchopulmonary segment, it is a separate pyramidal unit, and it will show connective tissue areolar septum, and it is pyramidal in shape. Base is near surface of lung and apex near to this hilum, facing toward this hilum. In this bronchopulmonary segment, inside this segmental bronchus is present, bronchial artery is present, and pulmonary artery is present. But drainage, pulmonary vein will drain or present in relation with this septum, and therefore it is intrasegmental in drainage, pulmonary vein, and this separate triangular unit is bronchopulmonary segment. Now this tertiary bronchus will divide into terminal bronchus divide into respiratory bronchioles, it will again form alveolar duct, then alveolar sacs, and finally alveoli. But these segmental bronchi, here it will form separate bronchopulmonary segments. And in relation with this bronchopulmonary segment and left lung, in right lung, upper lobe, apical, anterior, posterior. In middle lobe, lateral and medial. In lower lobe, there is presence of apical. Then below this apical, anterior basal, lateral basal, posterior basal, and medial basal. Now this is about this. There is presence of 10 bronchopulmonary segment present in this right lung, but in left lung there is presence of 8 bronchopulmonary segment. Apico-posterior, anterior, upper lingular, lower lingular. In lower lobe, apical, anterior basal, lateral basal, and posterior basal. Now here in right side only 6 are visible, but total there are 10 numbers of bronchopulmonary segments. 10 number of bronchopulmonary segments present in this right lung. Now here, which 10 segment? Apical, posterior, anterior in upper lobe, right lung. Middle lobe, medial and lateral. In lower lobe, apical, anterior basal, lateral basal, apico-posterior, anterior, upper lingular, lower lingular. In lower lobe, apical, anterior basal, lateral basal, and posterior basal. Medial basal is absent in left lung. Now these are bronchopulmonary segments in right lung, and these are in left lung. You can see apical, anterior, posterior, medial, lateral, then apical, medial basal, posterior basal, lateral basal, anterior basal. Here again in left lung, apico-posterior, anterior, upper lingular, lower lingular, then again apical in lower lobe, then anterior medial basal, lateral basal, and posterior basal. Now here applied part. This bronchopulmonary segment, here lung abscess is common in some segments, apical segment of lower lobe and posterior segment of upper lobe. Why? Because right lung bronchus, principal bronchus is straight. It is straight, vertical and having more diameter. Therefore, any substance can go easily towards right lung, in right lung. Therefore, apical segment of lower lobe and posterior segment of upper lobe, lung abscess is common. Segmental knowledge is important for postural drain. If there is pus, use one typical posture, pus can be drained out. Then tuberculosis in posterior segment of upper lobe is common, and carcinoma in anterior segment of upper lobe is common. These are segments where some diseases are common. Sometimes there is segmental resection, any reason. Therefore, we must have knowledge of these segments, bronchopulmonary segments, for this segmental resection. This is all about bronchopulmonary segments and ribs. Thank you.